demigod. Step aside for a demigod.
Today, I sit down with Brandon Lee Richardson, music producer and artist whose new video for Demigod is available now on YouTube. Join us for today's conversation. Hello, everyone. My name is Opie Ifafore, and welcome to Conversations with Opie, a show dedicated to inspiring you to dream big, use your gift, and walk in your purpose. Today, my guest is writer, composer, musician, so many things under the umbrella, Brandon Lee Richardson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show. I have been following your music for a while, and I really want to dive into your process of not only making and creating music, but also how social media, all these platforms affects the type of music and how you actually present your music to the world. I mean, just listen to Brando itself. It's like it reads as an autobiography. You know, you get to actually get to know a lot about you from childhood experiences, relationships, all that kind of stuff. It's really in there.
Yeah.
But I want to know more about how did you even get into the world of music? Like, what planted that seed in your head that you're like, you know what? I really like this and I want to pursue this.
So the way that I got into music, when I was, I'd say middle school, right? So when I was in middle school, me and my friends down in Yonkers, we would go every summer, we would go to the parks and play basketball, right? And when we weren't doing that, I would go over to my friend Rob's house and we would write raps. We would write songs to beats that I would download off the internet, right? It was just something to do, like just fun stuff to do, right? And so me and him were just writing diss songs on each other, just like pages and pages of disses, right? So one day I'm trying to find beats off LimeWire, and I'm like, oh man, I have all of these already, and these other ones don't sound that good. So I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. Let me make my own beat, right? So I find this program, Fruity Loops. That's what it was called at the time. Now it's called FL Studio, but at the time it was called Fruity Loops, right? So I find it, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I download it, and I make my first beat, and I was instantly like hooked onto it. Like I fell in love with it immediately because I was like, oh man, this is cool. Like, you know, I'm being creative. I could, you know, make my own music. I could write to it, whatever. So I make the first beat. It sounds super trash, by the way. It's terrible. But I was like,
at
man,
the time, it probably sounded amazing, but now
to me, it was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It was the best thing ever. I showed it to my mother, and she was like, "Nah, this is terrible. Like, what the hell are you showing me?" You know. But to me, I'm like, "Nah, this is fire. Like, you have no idea what you're talking about." So I keep doing it. You know, and then like about a year later, me and my family, we moved down to Florida State, and I had moved before the rest of my family. I was staying with my grandmother that summer, and so that whole summer I was in her guest room. I'm just making beats. I'm just like on my laptop, just going crazy. And so you know, from there, like I'm like, all right, you know what? I think this is something that I really want to pursue. I really want to do, and so that a semester or that like year in school, I took a piano class, started learning how to play piano, started teaching myself, you know, just how to make beats, write songs, like what it really is to make songs and the structure of songs. And I just kept learning from there, you know.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that takes it to another level because it's not just, you're now adding the instrumental part and saying, I want to understand the basics and how it's actually made instead of just like, in a sense, just using what's already there. You're like, I want to do it from scratch. But now today we have all these platforms that actually, which is a good thing in the sense that you're able to put your music and what you create out to people right away if you want to. But what challenges do you face in it being actually very easy to do so? Because now anyone can do it.
Yeah, so there's like everything, there's like a good and bad side to it, you know. The good side is, you know, you have access to really like to make music yourself, put it out there, and somebody can hear it, listen to it, they can fall in love with it. You can, you know, get your own audience, and there's really no gatekeeper, you know, so to speak. So that's good. I always say that, like, if I grew up in like an earlier time, like in the 70s or the 80s, I probably wouldn't be making music, just because like how expensive it was to make music. You know,
Right.
just one session alone can cost you $100,000, you know, back then. Now, you know, you can make an entire album for free in your room, you know. So it's good in that sense. The bad thing about it is, like, then, you know, because there's no gatekeepers, it's just obviously anybody could just make music. And when there's no higher position kind of guiding you to like where to go and how to maneuver through it, it can be difficult to try to make it on your own. You know, you have to be the one to like learn it and know how to, to put in the work, and, you know, figure out what a rollout plan is, how to get your music out there, like which avenues to go to, you know, and how to decipher which ones are not legit and which ones are legit, you know.
Right.
So that could make it difficult, you know.
Do you find yourself, like, you know, you met, one of the other difficulties I think is also this whole algorithm thing. I think that's such a buzzword that I feel as creators you kind of have to understand, because you're not only fighting against like all the other knowledge that you have to know your music, and you have to know how to put it out there. You have to know how to feed those content to the right people or when to do it. But then you're also fighting against this algorithm that chooses how to actually put that content out there.
I mean, it's an obstacle, like anything else. But I still think it's still, even though that is in place now, I think there's still ways that we can like maneuver through it, and find our audiences. Because the algorithm, what is it? It's just something that pushes more content that people like, right? So like if you like a couple of cooking videos, right? It's going to see that you like cooking videos. It's going to push more cooking videos to you because it's so that we're engaging with it, right? And so then that's all you're going to see is those cooking videos, right? So, you know, there's going to be new ways to try to like maneuver those things, but it makes it a million times more difficult to get to people, because it's not like a linear timeline anymore. You know, like you can be following somebody, but you never see their content because it may not be in the realm of the normal things that you like, you know?
Right.
So
I've definitely found myself coming into that issue that sometimes even someone's content that I used to see all the time, all of a sudden is not there. And it doesn't mean that I don't like the content, but for some reason it's been filtered now to only show me certain things. Then I have to physically go to their page or go look at it and be like, oh, okay, that's it. And I guess in a sense, there's a time when I thought the whole, you know, push for notification was like, you know, a joke, but it's like, no, you actually do have to, you do have to subscribe in a sense to that person's, whether it's Instagram or TikTok, so that you're notified when that person posts new content. So how do you use social media to help bring your work out to the people that you want to see it?
Lately I've kind of been doing it in a sense where like certain platforms I use for certain things, you know. So like TikTok, for instance. TikTok is, I found that TikTok is more beneficial for discovery at the moment. You know,
Okay.
more people can, like, it's a lot easier to become discovered on TikTok versus like Instagram, which now is more of like people who are already following you or already engaged with you and they like
Okay.
your stuff. It's and so like I use Instagram now to like kind of maintain and build the connections of the people that are interested, right? And
Gotcha.
then TikTok I use for discovery, you know, post content that like, you know, new people can come on board. And then, you know, people who are really interested, they'll a lot of times they'll migrate over
They'll
to
stick
Instagram.
around and then also go onto Instagram too. I love what you
Yeah.
did with Brando in the fact that you kind of gave a breakdown of each, you know, single, like you explained
Mm.
how you made it happen. What made you decide to really dive into giving people more detail about how you make your music?
Um, I just I'm really big on storytelling, right? So you know, it's a chance for me to tell my story, um, and I thought it would be a cool thing for people to get a closer look into like what each song means and where that story is going, you know. Um, so I figured doing it in a form of like content, a post, because like people they tend to overlook like text as content,
Right.
right? You know what I'm saying? Because like we always think of content as videos, pictures, things like. But text is also is considered content as well, writing. You know, so it was a form of incorporating that because I'm very big on writing as well. Like I like writing. You know, so it was just adding another form of content into the role that I play.
So speaking of your album, I really want to get into it. What inspired you to be so vulnerable? Because I mean, if you listen, and if you guys haven't listened, you need to go check it out. It's on Bandcamp. When you listen to it, you're very vulnerable. Have you always been that way and you just finally put it out in your work, or how did it come to be?
Honestly, this project is the first time that I've ever been so vulnerable. Prior to this, I was always making music from the sense of like, I guess like more vague, right? So where like it could be about me, but it could not be about me, or you know, stuff like
Right.
that. But for this project, being that it's my first like official album, I wanted it to be, you know, like from that point on moving forward, I wanted to be more vulnerable. I wanted to just give it all, you know, give everything into the music, put it all in there. Just because, you know, it's if I'm telling my story, you know, there's a chance somebody out there may
You can
be able
relate
to
to it.
relate to what I went through, what I'm going through, stuff like that. So
What was the
yeah.
hardest song for you to write in the whole album that gave you a little bit of like, should I say this, or maybe I should keep this to myself?
um I say I'd say there was a couple. Like the first track, the first opening track,
Okay.
that one was tough because like it made me reflect because like going through the album, like working on the album, it kind of made me reflect on where I've been, like in my past, even before me, like my family's past, like where they came from, and so you know, kind of like actually facing it, because before that, I'm always looking forward, right? Never looking back. But this time, I spent the entire time thinking back and looking back to take from the past, you know. So, you know, just thinking of all of that made it tough. And then I think Pain, the other one, that one was tough just because of the things, you know, it's talking about the things that brought pain into my life.
Right.
And so like thinking about all of those things and facing those things and coming to terms with it, you know, makes it tough.
How important is it for you to follow your dream? Because being a musician, a composer, a writer is not an easy it's not the easy path in the sense, like, it's not a
Mhm.
guarantee. You don't wake up in the
Yeah.
morning and go to work and, okay, at the end of the day, I know I work these hours and
Mhm.
I'm guaranteed this pay. In this dream that you're following and that you're pursuing, nothing's a guarantee. It's not
Yeah.
something that you can hold on to in a sense. How important is it for you to follow this dream? What does it mean to you?
Yeah. I don't know what it is about like pursuing uncertain things, but like I always do that. Like for some reason, like everything I do is like, yeah, this might not work out. This may work out. We'll find out though. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like when I started it, it it's just like it's my gut feeling. Like like it's something that I know that I'm supposed to be doing. So for me, it's really important to pursue it, not just for myself, but to succeed for the people around me, and even like people that don't know me that may see me doing it. And if I can accomplish the goals that I set out, it can show that it's possible for you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of times we hear the stories, and about 80% of the time there's like a lot of factors that they don't talk about that actually made it happen. Nobody completely does it on their
On
own.
their own.
Yeah, so like there's like this big company behind them, and they're just in the shadows, and they make it seem like it that the person did it, but like if I can accomplish the goals that I set out in the way that I'm doing it, then it could be like a confirmation for somebody else that like, oh, it's possible. Like this person did it, like they can do it. I can do it too,
Right. Sorry, I think I'm having connection issues. Okay, perfect. Okay, so another thing I want to know is what does success in this dream that you're pursuing look like to you? When will you get to the point where you're like, I've made it?
I won't ever get to that point. No, because every time that I achieve something, like there's the next thing, because I remember years ago wishing, like hope, like wanting to be at the position I'm in now, and then now I'm like I need to be like further along, so
Right.
but a good marker for me would be being in a position where I can provide like a real opportunity for other people coming up.
Wow.
Being in that position where like I can say, all right, I can do this for this artist, because this person is really dope. They're really doing something, and I can provide that opportunity for them to become big, because I know how hard it is to try to do it on your own. So that for me, that's a good marker for as far as like yeah, I'm successful right now.
That's also a very generous marker, actually. A lot of people don't talk about when you get to that level where you can help others. That's a great marker. I saw a few days ago, or maybe it was last week, you talked about wanting to compose for for like a score for a film. I mean, I think that would be
Oh yeah,
a great marker too.
I would love to do that. You don't understand. Like I'm trying my hardest right now. I'm trying to get into films and animations. Man, it's tough though. It's tough because it's such like a closed like group
Right.
of people.
A unique field of its own, where it's kind of like,
Yeah.
people, connections. I mean, I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's with everything,
Yeah.
right? You just have
Yeah.
to find that right person to listen to that thing, and
Mm-hmm.
everything can change.
Yep.
There's one song that I saw. I don't know how it's pronounced, so forgive me. I think is it Yumi or is it Umi? But that
Ume.
one, what's it called?
Ume.
Ume. There we go.
Yeah.
That sounded like a score. That sounded like something that I could definitely, hear in like Oscar winning, something,
Yeah.
because it was very beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. One day I'll get there.
One day I can't wait to see the credits. I'm like, oh wait, I know that guy. So yeah, I mean, with everything going on and your music, where do you see yourself in, speaking of success and the future, what new projects are you in the process of working on? Anything new, or what's coming up with you?
I am. I'm currently working on my next project, my next album, and as well as the projects for my artist, Kendall Page. She's working on her next project.
She's a beautiful
So,
voice. I've
yeah,
seen that you guys
yeah,
collaborated on like two
mhm,
songs that I've listened to, and I was like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. She's featured on one of the songs on Brando,
Yeah.
and like another single that I did. But yeah, it's coming out very nice, very nice. So I'm excited for that. And as far as like the near future, those are the two like big projects right now. Big
Okay.
things going on.
And where will like for me, for everyone watching, where will we be able to find out, listen to this content or watch the
Mm.
videos? Where can you
Yeah,
find all that information?
yeah, social media, that's at Brandon Lee Rich. That's all my social medias. Or if you want to go on my website and subscribe to the mailing list, BrandonLeeRichardson.com. That's also, that's direct. So, whenever new things come out, you're gonna know like immediately. So.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining me today and talking about your music and fighting the algorithm.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
This was a great conversation, and I can't wait to hear all the new content that you have to share. And all of you watching, I hope you go check out all the content that Brandon Lee Richardson has. Check out his website, social media platforms. I'm sure that you will find something that you love. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, bye everyone.